Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new Souls Tycoon video. You can see which character I've got. You know what this video is mostly going to be about. But before I get into showing the moves, let's talk about some other things that this update added that you may or may not be interested in. So, first things first, if you ever want to make videos, you can put them on you can now turn off the music that plays when you use like transformations like Bankai and Resurrection. So yeah, now I don't have to turn this. Now I don't have to mute the sound when transforming. At least if it works. Haven't tried it, but yeah. Increased health. Very happy to see that. You know, now I don't know when. I don't know how many rebirths where you. As you can see, base health goes up to 12,500 now. I don't know how many rebirths it takes to get that. I don't remember the math, but, you know. I got like 264, so I'm a little past where you get that. So, I could have sworn there was something else that was added. Well, don't remember what else was added. So, yeah, let's talk about, there is definitely some parts that are good and some parts that are bad. We come over here to the raids, raid area, 30 rebirths are required. It looks like he spawned in. There is a new boss, alright? The Shunsui boss. Now, I'm not going to fight him, because, quite literally, even with all the moves and at 80%, it will be incredible. I probably won't be able to solo him with this character. You see, before I show the moves, let's talk about the raid, alright? So first things first, they changed raids up, because before, with Kenpachi, you could get the limit breaker items from killing the raid boss. Now, they no longer drop any limit breaker items, neither Kenpachi nor Shunsui. Neither Kenpachi nor Shunsui. As you can see, Fan of Shadows is 0%. Same with Kenpachi's eye patch. You now have to come to the raid shop to buy it. Which means you need to get a lot more raid tokens in order to limit break. Now, a lot of people don't like this change, and but I can understand why the developers did it. When I was getting Kenpachi, by the time I unlocked the character, I had like 6 eye patches, alright? That's like 3 upgrades at the limit breaker. That's kind of overpowered. So I don't blame them for changing it, but removing the whole drop, putting the drop chance 0, I don't agree with that, alright? Something that I feel the developers should have done was make it so that if you don't have the character, like if you haven't purchased the character, you will not get the limit breaker item from the fight. But if you have the character, even if you're not using it, but you've actually bought it in the... But if you own the Kenpachi or Shunsui Tycoon, even if you're not using it, but you do own it, it should have a chance to drop. That would correct it. So you still have to unlock the Tycoon, so you still can't... So unless you use your tokens to get the items before you get the character, which I wouldn't recommend, which is something I wouldn't recommend, but like, if you don't have the character, buying the item from the raid shop is the only way to get the item. But if you do have the character, you have to get the character first to get it from fights. That's how I would say that could be improved, alright? Next up, the Shunsui raid itself. Now, the Kenpachi raid, Kenpachi is a strong boss, alright? I would definitely recommend, if you're going to solo Kenpachi, to use one of the Rebirth Tycoons, and make sure you got all the transformation moves. However, the new boss was specifically designed so that you aren't supposed to solo him. And, okay, I can understand the developers wanting to add more challenging bosses, they want characters who, in order to pose a threat, they want boss fights that you would need multiple players in order to take down. There's a lot of issues with doing that. at least right now. First off, the character itself, Shusui. Alright? In terms of the Bleach anime, he is not the strongest on this list, alright? Aizen, Yamamoto, those characters are both strong. Alright. So, this character is not the one they should have picked for a multiplayer raid. If you wanted to have, like, if it was Vasto Lord Ichigo, or Ichibe, or even Yuhabak, then yeah, I would definitely say those are raid bosses that should require multiple players to take down. Those should be the difficult ones that you can't solo, or at least aren't supposed to be able to. Shusui is not... Like, he's strong, alright? Don't get me wrong. He's a strong character in terms of the anime, but he's not one I'd recommend as being. I just don't think it's right to put Shusui as one of those who would require multiple players.
Also, I just want to point out that Shusui, his moveset in this game just isn't exactly the best. Base moves, they're not that good. And the Bankai moves are alright, but yeah, honestly, overall, I just don't think they picked the right character for it.
And since we're on the topic, let's start talking about this character. Shusui character that they've added with all the moves, I definitely say this is the worst character to grind for in terms of usability, because the base moves, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, these base moves, they ain't good. Alright, definitely say Kenpachi has better base moves. Star has better base moves. Stark has better base moves. Heck, even Aizen has better base moves. I'm not talking about damage, I'm talking about, actual practicality. So first off, let's look at Gale Cutter. This is honestly the best one you got. Alright, it's got good AoE, it's got good range, It hits, and it does some decent damage, Let's go actually demonstrate on an easy boss, alright? Because, honestly, keep in mind, I have damage at 8. Oh! That's what I forgot to show. Also, another thing this update did was they updated all the skins, which is really nice. So, we have here Gale Cutter. It does some decent damage, as you can see, like even at 80%. I definitely say this is the best move you've got. Then you've got Whirlwind Pursuit, which does that. Whirlwind Pursuit creates this, cutting area. It does some decent damage. And damages everyone that walks into the cloud. I'd say it's good, but it could use a better side hitbox. Like, I'd say the hitbox could be a little larger on that one. And, like, the distance can go farther, because it's pretty easy to evade. Just give it more range and a slightly bigger hitbox, and I definitely say it'd be better. Next is Kageoni. This move is mostly a traversal, but it does have an attack at the end. This move has a terrible hitbox, like the attack at the end. Like, I understand it's mostly a mobility move, but it does have an attack. It's just, it can be pretty difficult to hit an opponent if you've got other players working with you, if you're not right on top of them, you're probably going to miss. I do not like the hitbox on this one, so. Yeah, that one did not, yeah, we didn't even hit them, and we were pretty close. Would definitely say to improve the hitbox on this one. And next is Tempest Dance, which is the most expensive of the base moves, but also the worst. So what it does is, you do like 2 slashes, and, well, 3 slashes, and on the third one you create a tornado. The problem with this one is, well, it's super easy to avoid, because you can't use it while you're moving. Gale Cutter, you can run, that one gives you some mobility, And there are so many moves that you can literally use while on the move. But this one, all they have to do is start running, and they will avoid it entirely. In terms of other player, and... Okay, it appears my skin glitched, but it's fine. So yeah, I would definitely say to give the player mobility during this move, because otherwise it is completely useless in PvP. Any player, like, even if you combo it with Hado 50, as you can see, it's also got a really small hitbox, so they have to be in the attack in order to take damage from it. Like, I definitely say better, slightly bigger hitbox. I definitely say either give it a bigger hitbox or improve the range. Also, if they move behind you, you can't, it won't update. Like, you know, it puts the tornado in front of your character, but if they quickly move behind you, you can't just turn and use it. You gotta turn and chase them for a bit in order to use this attack, because so let's say you're chasing someone, you know, chasing them, all of a sudden they go behind you. Worked that time. Well, I guess it's just hit or miss. But, you know, I did demonstrate it earlier, how it, like, you know, even after I turned, it was still behind me. So, I demonstrated it once. So, you know, I'm not totally crazy. Yeah, I definitely say... But yeah, this move is really easy to avoid unless you combo it with Hado 50. And even then, it's... just, overall, these moves are not the best. Now, let's look at our Bankai moves. Now, the Bankai moves are pretty good. So nice having some noise. So the first one, Dark Encroachment. I will say that these are pretty much just Kenpachi's moves, just better. So you got the first one. Alright, it's similar to that roar that Kenpachi does, which is basically Kenpachi's first Bankai move, just it's a lot bigger. Next is Oblivion's Ascension. I'm gonna quickly try and use this on the Shunsui boss to demonstrate. The boss, when the raid boss uses it, he'll hit you multiple times once with this move. But when I use it, he only takes damage twice. Then, Eclipse of Despair creates this area of effect around you, which does damage over time. With just those two moves, we did some decent damage. Overall, I would definitely say this character is both mid and overpowered at the exact same time. Because, like, I definitely say these moves are on the bad side. Like, these base moves are on the weaker end. They do okay damage, just... they are very lacking in terms of AoE and just overall usefulness in PvP. So yeah. If you're wondering which one you should use, like, I definitely say it's good. Especially if you can max it out. I definitely say this Tycoon is good. But if you... I would definitely still recommend using Kenpachi. Just overall, he has both a good Shikai and a good Bankai. Shunsui does have the stronger Bankai, but his base moves are way, way weaker. Which also means you're gonna have a lot of trouble maxing this character out. Like, once you get the character, you have two choices. You can either not use this character and try to get the fragments, or you can try using this character to get the moves, but you aren't going to be able to really do anything in raids, because even with all 4 base moves, I wasn't able to get any rewards from doing the Shunsui raid, because I simply could not deal enough damage. And even with this character nearly maxed out, And the thing is, he spams all of his Bankai moves. Like, they definitely need to give him low... I would definitely say to nerf this boss, because he's a little stronger than he should be. I actually did it. And got 9 black tokens. Okay, nice. Well, okay, so it appears that 80% soloing him is definitely a possibility. But I would highly recommend doing this with multiple players, because if you have a team, that would go so much faster. But yeah. Until you have the Bankai moves, this Tycoon is not that good. Sorry to say. The base moves could definitely use a buff, but other than that, the Bankai moves are pretty nice. So yeah, I guess we'll call the video here. There's nothing more to really talk about on it. So yeah, there's definitely some good and some bad with this update. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad update. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. Hope this has helped you in some way. If it has, please be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe, as both of those always help out with the channel. And yeah, with that, my friends, sayonara.